What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards. Welcome to Soccer Comic Rant. Thank you for listening on iTunes, Spotify, and Omni Studio. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. My Instagram is at Ian Edwards Comic. And we're going to talk about Man United uh, woeful display this weekend, disappointing as hell. I've started to find a new sport. Maybe I'll get into cricket, get a good team somewhere that does its thing on a regular basis, something reliable. So my weekends aren't disheartened. We're going to talk about Southampton. I watched that game in the championship. They won. Lee's pumping his fist. We're going to talk about Chelsea winning and scoring at the same time. This Monday, got Champions League coming up. We're going to talk about that discrepancy with VAR and Liverpool versus Spurs and how lucky Spurs are, and Aston Villa beating, dominating Brighton Hove. And I was like, did they do it in soccer or did they do it in something else? Or was it the women's team the men played? Like, what was going on over there? So we'll touch on that. And let's get into it. What's up, Lee, Hudson, stand-up comic, co-host from England, Southampton fan? How you feeling?
I'm all good. I mean, like you say, my team won this weekend, so we stopped the four-game losing streak, which is a nice way to bring my happiness up a little bit. So yeah, it's an interesting weekend of football across the board, though. There's some interesting results, like you're saying. I'm about to go watch a shit ton of Dutch football this weekend as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
looking forward to that. So yeah, it's all good.
So when you gonna go to Holland? When you're heading out there?
I'm getting the train from King's Cross in London Wednesday morning early.
Mm-hmm.
Got a show in Rotterdam that night, and then from Thursday to Sunday, I got shows in Amsterdam. Apart from the Saturday, there wasn't any space at any of the clubs on Saturday, so I'm doing Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and on Saturday I'm watching two games in the
What?
Eredivisie. I'm going to Heerenveen versus NEC, which is a 4:30 p.m. kickoff.
Mm.
That game finishes, and then I do the 1 hour, 20-minute drive from Heerenveen to Arnhem to watch Vitesse Arnhem play Excelsior Rotterdam at 9 p.m. So two games, two top-level games in one day. And then
what made you try to do two?
I saw the kickoff times, and I was like, yeah, I can do both. I rent a car. I can, like, the train, on train, it was going to be too much. I was like, no, I can rent a car. I can
Mm-hmm.
do that. Um,
You
and
don't think they got
yeah,
traffic out there?
no, the traffic's fine. Even with traffic, I should still get there before kickoff.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I should be all good. And yeah, it's been fun. Then the next day I'm at Ajax versus AZ, which is a 3:30 kickoff or 2:30 kickoff in the afternoon, and then I've got a show later that night. So a
Is,
lot of football, a lot of
who's
comedy.
who's coaching Ajax? Didn't they just fire their coach?
They fired the sporting director. I think the coach is still
Okay.
there. He's hanging on, but they're not doing too good at the moment. They're right down near the lower reaches of the league. So be interesting to see if they can pick it up. But they lost like all their stars. They lost Ten Hag as well, obviously, and then Lissandro went and Anthony went and Alvarez went this summer to West Ham. They've been picked off
Timber went to
like all that.
Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. They've just been hemorrhaging players left, right, and
Players.
centre. So it's
They,
yeah,
they got cash and no results. They made money off all these players. They got money. Now they don't have the players to stay in the league. It might be
yeah,
the richest Eredivisie two team or whatever they call it down there. I have no idea. But yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
It's Feyenoord and PSV are the teams tearing it up this year. Obviously, Feyenoord won the division last year, so yeah, they're right up there. AZ, who I'm going to watch though, they're right up there. PSV are top, AZ a second,
mhm.
Twente a third, Feyenoord a fourth. So it's yeah, it's a competitive league this year, even though Ajax aren't part of that.
Hilarious. Now, that's dope, man. It's gonna be a great trip. I wish I could go check out some of the matches with you, but I'm in America. Last week we tried to do the podcast. We actually did do the podcast, but it depends on like what you call doing the podcast. We recorded it, but I was in Toronto and the Wi-Fi was so slow, so buffering, so tethering that like I was freezing every other word. And then Martin joined. I started it off solo first, and then it started to like cut me out completely. So at one point, Martin would just keep on talking until I got back on. At another point, then you joined, and then it did the same thing again. Then it cut in half somehow because one time I did restart the stream completely before you got on, and it was just mayhem. Like I thought Toronto standard Wi-Fi was up to par with just Wi-Fi period in the world. Like it's the first time. Normally, when you check into a hotel, they give you a choice of Wi-Fi. Do you want a regular standard, or do you want the other one? And I'm like, nah, the regular standard. I'd be downloading like the entire dark web on a regular standard anywhere else. So I'm like, let me just get the regular standard. This is the first time the regular standard sucks so much. I said, oh, that's why people sell other tiers of Wi-Fi, even though they give you one for free. Yeah, that was pretty lame. But now we're here to make up for it. And, at least last week when I did the podcast, did I have any? We had just beaten, Man United had just beaten uh, uh, Burnley. I think it was Burnley. It was an ugly win, but at least we got 3 points. And then, man, then we beat Crystal Palace midweek in the Carabao Cup. So I was 1,000% sure, 1,000% sure after beating Crystal Palace midweek in the Carabao Cup that I would come on here smiling and happy today because midweek when we beat them in the Carabao Cup, we saw the return of a bunch of players. And we were like, oh, this is it. Now the season is going to start. This is it. Not only did we handle Palace at home, we got them again this weekend. Even players got some game time after coming back from injuries. They're going to just kick off from there. And no, they didn't. And even though Palace did change the lineup a little bit, like I looked, they changed mostly defenders, but for the most part, like maybe they made 4 changes, but they weren't significant changes.
They didn't start Eze midweek, did they? In the
No,
Carabao Cup, and then they brought him back in for this.
Right, but Eze's performance wasn't like that great because Crystal Palace played like more low block, but we were just inept. We was woeful. We played like we heard about football before, and this is how it's kind of supposed to be played. Don't use your hands, just use your feet. And there was no energy, man. Like whenever we don't play Hannibal or Score or somebody from the academy, it don't matter who's out there. There's just not enough energy, not enough like no raw, you know what I mean? No ooh, no Marines, no like let's just figure this out and get in there. Let's put some energy into this shit. We just look sluggish and slow, just easy to contend with. And to lose to that Crystal Palace team they made a few changes, but the changes were not that significant, even though the result was compared to, like if you look at our team on paper and their team on paper that they played on Saturday, and then you said United is at home, you're like, we're going to win. We're going to win. And then, Amrabat was out of position. He's playing left back, but and we just have a left back crisis period. Like we don't got none. As soon as we get one, Amrabat's going to get injured if he plays left back again. Like it's just a cursed position for us right now. But we couldn't get any goals. The front three, just not connecting, just misfiring. Like the definition of misfiring. Like even when the season started and we had Sancho, Garnacho, and Rashford and Anthony, they was just bad decision making gumbo up front across the front line. Like I don't know what's going on. It's like there's just it's just cluelessness. I don't know why. It's just like, man, it's almost like amateur time up there. So there's just something really, really wrong. So the lack of energy, the cluelessness, and the lack of like determination and desire and running, the basic standards are not being like delivered. Like, what game did I watch? I watched Forest versus who did they play?
Brentford.
It was one. Yes. And energy, energy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like both teams, energy. Like you don't look like you're watching a painting dry.
Hmm.
You're just watching constant flow back and forth. One team came out on top of the other in the first 20 minutes, and then Brentford started like putting it back on them. And then in the second half was just more even. And it's just like even when, you know, Nottingham Forest went down a man and Brentford scored, they still put some energy in there. Nottingham Forest and found a goal with 10 men. And it's just like, it's just, we're just not doing basics. So I was definitely determined to, I'm a switch sports, man, like this week. And I didn't listen to like none of the post game press conferences. I didn't listen to no football this weekend, bro. It's a good thing I was in Canada and at the Toronto Comedy Festival, out JFL. I just kind of just got lost in that. I just avoided hearing about anything or anybody. I don't know if we got injuries or nothing. I didn't pay attention to, who's available for Galatasaray. I just, yeah.
Zaha hit a great goal for them at the weekend.
Oh boy.
So he's finding his feet out there. He started slowly,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I watched your game against Palace, and yeah,
Why?
just I was in. I watch all the games back. Just want to have a look, and yeah, like you say, something just wasn't clicking. Like Hoyland had a couple of sort of half decent chances that he snatched at and couldn't get the connection, and yeah, it just wasn't happening. I mean, the goal, set piece goal, isn't it? And the guys hit a finish that he might not ever connect with as well again in his life, but
Ever.
they
Ever.
took that chance. So
Mm-hmm.
um, that's what it's about. And yeah, it just felt like one of those sort of, I think we've seen that a lot over the last few years with United, where they're sort of fairly in control of a game in terms of possession and chances, but then just don't have the cutting edge to put a team that they should be putting to bed, and they hurt you on that one chance, and it's a smash and grab kind of game. But yeah, it's a harsh one, a harsh lesson, and I feel like there's the components of a good team there at United, but for some reason it's just not working together right now.
I mean, 78% possession, bro, and 4 shots on target. I
Yeah,
mean,
Casemiro had a couple of chances as well, didn't he?
yeah, he does get chances. That's one thing Casemiro does. He does get chances. He's unmarked coming out of like the midfield,
Mm.
but then it opens us up to like and make us subject to like counters. But he has a nose for it, and he's a better offensive midfielder than he was able to show at Real Madrid. Like I think Ten Hag wants to get him forward there in the game, but Mason Mount, I don't want to be down on him, but I can't be up on him. You know what I mean? Like he's not giving me much. He did good midweek in the Carabao Cup against them, but like I said, on paper, with the names we got, we should handle this team at home easily.
Mm.
And for Mason not to show that night, not where the energy at, fam. Like, come on, where's the energy? Like, we're just lacking. Just shit. The only thing we don't lack is cluelessness. So yeah, man, it was pretty it's pretty sad. And afterwards, I watched the. I went to a. First of all, I had to go to a bar because this. Listen, I know I need a passport to get into Canada, but Canada and America are so close together. You forget that there's different countries. Like, in order to watch the Caribou Cup game, like I have all my apps on my laptop slash iPad. So, you got the YouTube TV, NBC, uh, Peacock, and all that. So you're like, all right, I'm just going to click on those and watch the games. And there's like, no, you're not in the right territory. You're not home. I'm like, well, I'm just in Canada, bro. So then I have to like try to download Dan's Sports, which did allow me to watch the Caribou Cup game. And when I woke up Saturday morning trying to watch the Premier League game, I'm like, none of my apps are working. It's a good thing I woke up early enough so I can't watch the Villa Brighton Hove game. So then I'm like, I Google how can you watch Premier League games in Canada, and it says use Fubo. So then I downloaded, sign up for the free trial. It won't take an American credit card. It has to be a Canadian credit card. So now I'm start Googling bars. And I'm like walking 20 something minutes to some bar to see the United game, to see us lose. I put in more energy trying to find that bar than our players did. That like if I had that that tank top they wear under their jersey with the tracking meter, I would have put in more. Like just from looking online, trying to download an app, credit card being refused multiple times, to getting dressed and like running down to that bar, bananas. But
Yeah, you
then the
faced
bar
more
had,
adversity than your team did. You came
yeah, and
for
I
it.
didn't give up. I didn't give up. Yeah, I did not give. I'm a
Oh man,
real fan, bro.
you need to get a VPN for your travels.
I mean, maybe, maybe. It's just, and then so then now because I like football, football can make me depressed, but it can also cheer me up. You know, like what happens when your team lose? You watch the game of the team you hate the most, and you want to see them lose. Now that team is supposed to be Liverpool, but not when they're playing Spurs, and because it's so much fun to kick Martin when he's down, when his team is down. But you think those VAR, all those refs would let us have that this weekend? No, they did not. So did you see the Liverpool uh, Spurs game and the
Yeah,
controversial? It's not even a controversial decision. It shouldn't have been anything. It should just been a goal. But
yeah.
what's your take?
I mean, it's just incompetence on the highest level that they did that. Because I mean, for anyone that hasn't seen it, Luis Diaz got put through for a chance.
I saw.
He finished him, and it was 0-0 at the time. So that would have put Liverpool one up. They just had a man sent off, but it would have put them
Mm-hmm,
one up. They could have sat on that lead and tried to defend it.
mm-hmm.
Not giving that goal fundamentally changes the dynamics of that game. And so he went through and scored. The linesman flagged for an offside. Um, the VAR guys thought that the referee referred it because it hadn't been given offside on the field. So they said, "Oh no, check complete," because they thought the goal should stand,
Stand.
but
Yeah.
they didn't realize that the linesman on the field had flagged. So they thought, "Oh no, check complete." And then there was just lack of complete breakdown in communication between the on-field officials and the guys in the VAR room. I think some of the officials in both on the field and in the room, they had travelled to officiate some Saudi Arabian games or Qatari games during the week or
What?
something. And they had only arrived back the day before this game. So I mean, those decisions would suggest they were jet lagged.
Or
It was
alcohol lagged.
not if they're coming from there, unless they drank on the flight. But just crazy that decision could be so wrong. And then obviously they came out afterwards. They've admitted the mistake. Liverpool aren't happy about it. They're threatening legal action because obviously the game played out how it did. Another sending off, which I thought was wrong because the first yellow wasn't a yellow. The guy tripped himself up. And then obviously they're clinging on with 9 men, 1-1, and then Spurs find a winner late into stoppage time. And it takes a lot for me to feel sorry for Liverpool, but I really did feel for them in this game because they didn't deserve to lose that game. They fought really hard with a lot against them. Well, the one thing I will say, the first sending off for Jones was a sending off.
But
no Liverpool fan I know
argue?
wants to admit it, but I would say that one was as clear sending off. Jota wasn't.
But here's the thing about the Jones sending off. Fine, like Liverpool has come back from 1 goal down with 1 man off earlier this season, right? But the Jones thing is, it's like on here on TV they show the ref walking to the monitor, and when he gets to the monitor, you know what image is on? It's a frozen image of
Oh yeah,
Jones's foot right on the guy's. So if you're a ref and you see that before they roll the footage back, you're like redder than the Liverpool jersey, just red. But also, so when they roll it back, they don't roll it back like far. They roll it back just enough so that you miss Jones being fouled. Like, so Jones had the ball. One of the Spurs guys grabbed his jersey and yanked his arm, which separated him from the ball. And then Jones got away from the guy, and now he's a distance from the ball that he's uncomfortable with. So to get the ball now, he has to extend. And when he extends and does get the ball, his foot rolls on the ball and hits the other guy. It's like, I feel like you got to take all of that into consideration. And for them to just stop at that point, it's like he kind of was fouled first. It's not just a lunge. And I think it's a yellow at most.
I don't. I think he was jostling with the guy beforehand. I don't think there was enough there to call it a foul. And then people saying like he rolled over the ball. Like he didn't really roll over the ball. He glanced the top of the ball as he went studs up, out of control, into the dude's ankle and almost snapped it in half. Like for me, that he's out of control. He's out of control. That's a red. And yeah, I mean, if anyone saw that against their team, they'd be calling for the red. That's all I will say on that one
they'd be
because
calling for it, but do they deserve it? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Oh, dude, that could have broke the guy's ankle. He was out of control. Like he wasn't in control. Like he should have pulled out the tackle after he was off balance and
after he was fouled
potentially he
and it
wasn't
wasn't
fouled. They were
called.
jostling. They were competing for the ball.
Nah, he beat that guy. He beat him. He got by him. The guy yanked him, pulled him back, and then he's trying to get the ball. The ball's a little bit ahead of him, and it's like, yeah, watch that play again from the point where I suggested, and you'll see that like he didn't even have to be in that trouble if he was never yanked.
Hmm.
But yeah,
I think
I
it's a
feel like
red.
he got
But
solid contact with the ball. Wasn't intentional. Do you feel it was intentional?
I think it was out of control rather than intentional. And out of control and excessive force is the are the things that I mean. I've just watched. I was just looking back at it now. He wasn't fouled
Mm-hmm.
before.
You don't see the guy yanking his jersey, yeah, pulling his
No,
arm back.
he put an arm on him, but it didn't change his speed or his direction or anything.
It didn't change his speed. Are you
And he
sure?
actually he turns his foot in sideways as he goes into the challenge. Like that's a red all day long. The Jota one
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, but that one, Curtis Jones was 100% a red.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you just go away from that, just back to them, just not allowing that goal is just
Yeah,
bananas. And there's a
yeah.
law in the referee book that prevents the referees in the booth from making the right call. for say, hey ref, hey, stop the game. We saw that you're not giving that goal. It was a goal. There's a law that prevents them from not being able to tell the ref on the field after he's made the call that he's made, which is the wrong call. And it's like, listen, I feel like those refs should be punished. I heard they were replaced for a game after that. But what does replace mean? That mean they'll be back this week?
Oh yeah, they just have a game or two off. They'll be back.
So you just went to Dubai, partied, made some money, came back, mess up this game, and then you get a week off? Like that's not a punishment. I would go as far as say Liverpool, they should give Liverpool a point. Like in a scenario like this. Give Liverpool a point. Now, I know it sounds bananas, but what happened, it's just so blatant of a mistake. It's a goal. It's a legit goal.
Whatever they do, I think they should take 3 points off of Tottenham. That'd be the ideal scenario.
It's hilarious. I mean, I can't be mad at Tottenham either. They just did what they did. And, Son had a great game. And Madison was at it again. And they just look more like a team in such a short space of time with a brand new coach and a brand new defense. Basically a completely new defense and midfield. And they're just up and at it. So give it to them begrudgingly, but I don't like it. I don't like what's going on over there. I don't like that their coach is so likable. He's got to be the most likable coach in the league. And why does Spurs have him? Like, he's like, I don't know, man. That guy is just a fun ass guy. Talks about his wife, spending his money, sometimes just randomly out of nowhere. I don't know, man. What's up, Neil?
How's it going? I was a little hesitant coming on because it looks like both my webcam and the headphones aren't working, so I'm using the laptop stuff.
I mean, that's what I use, but I need to get like I probably need to get like a webcam and a microphone, an official microphone.
Yeah. So yeah, as long as you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. What do you think about the horrendous call of the not disallowed goal in the Liverpool game?
I mean, it's ridiculous, right? But I think it's important to like figure out exactly what the problem is. So this one's not even a VAR problem. It's essentially a protocol process problem. It's just ridiculous that you have all the technology in the world. We have all the, like Premier League's got so much money. You have no one actually in charge of like the moderator, right? You don't have a moderator who's linking things up between what the VAR guy is doing and the on-field, the refereeing group on field is doing. So yeah, and I think also one thing where as the entire footballing world, we should take part of the blame is there's a ridiculous call by a lot of people to just quicken up the game. People don't like ever since VR came in, people keep saying it takes too much time. I'm like, why do you care if it takes too much time? Like,
as long as it's right.
So much out of love with football that you can't stand another 10 minutes of football? Like, it's all right. Like the whole idea is to get things right? And so even defenders do that sometimes. Like you'll see, the linesman hasn't put his flag up. Okay, maybe you feel that it's an obvious offside, and then the linesman hasn't raised it, and then when they eventually raise the flag, even the goal isn't given. The defenders absolutely lose their mind. They start waving their hands at the linesman. You're putting pressure on the officials to not do things the right way. And so players do it, managers obviously do it, commentators do it, even like fans online, they do it. So I I feel we need to take a little bit of responsibility to, like, the officials screwed up in this case, but I think it comes from a whole lot of all these years of people saying, VR needs to be quick, VR needs to be quick, VR needs to be quick. VR being quick should be the secondary, uh, priority.
VAR needs to be accurate.
Accurate, yeah, that should be the first priority. So, because in this case, I can guarantee his entire mind was like, all right, I got this. Let me just give the all clear and have, like, a green check next to my name that I got a critical VR call done in like 15 seconds. Because that's essentially what he did, maybe even less. So I hope like I hope people like Gary Neville, who are like very vocal about what actually happened, realize what they do in their day-to-day profession that actually causes this.
But also, here's a question. Why do we need VAR? Because refs were making mistakes. Then they put the same refs in charge of VAR. And then the mistakes persist on an even more magnified level. So when are they going to be like, hey, man, we need to get better officials to call these games?
No, but in this case, if you judge that referee on refereeing itself, he did the right thing. He said it was a...
No. I know, but the guys in the booth too are referees. And a lot of weeks, there's like mistakes being made. And it's like, it's the same people. These are the people you need VAR. These people were the reason for it. And they're the ones that's messing it up. And I'm sure VAR does some good things. I ain't like, fuck it. Like I'm still down to ride with VAR because it should be able to get it better. But it's that was a terrible mistake. And if you're messing something up, like if we play for a team or any one of our teammates don't score, or you watch Chelsea and they have a scoring problem, or United might have an everything problem. You buy players until that problem is fixed. You exchange the personnel for the personnel that can do the job. And these people weren't doing the job without VAR, and they ain't doing it with it. So I say you got to cut off somebody's hand so that other people don't want to lose their hands.
You know what they do, right? Instead, what they do is they keep moving the refs around. Like, for example, the guy who was in the VR in the Liverpool game.
Like Catholic school pedophiles.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
the
priests.
Church. or the Wales Sea World. That's exactly what they do. Like,
it's still the same guy. You can't move him around. It's going to be the same mistake.
Yeah.
This is not the Catholic Church. They get rid of him.
Yeah. So like they'll take them out of the firing line this week, but he'll be back. You won't even know what game he's doing. They're not even going to let you know that. He's going to be in somebody's apartment looking at the TV, but he's actually your VR official.
Yeah, you won't know what game he's doing until he makes his signature VAR mistake. And then why are they like dressed in shorts in a computer room in the booth? Like, where you ain't running.
Yeah.
Why are you in referee shorts watching a monitor, bro? Like, just something that's fundamentally crazy like that, it shows me the whole system is wrong. Like, just show me the VAR booth. They could be in regular clothes. I know it's the ref. You have to like put a uniform on them.
I think one thing is, like, I always wonder, maybe Lee, you'd probably, I don't know if you've encountered this, because there's no VAR in the lower levels of football, right? So any referee coming through the ranks, they have no exposure to VAR until they are in the best, like the pinnacle of their profession, which is pretty unique, right? It doesn't happen anywhere else. So I don't know what sort of coaching does somebody go through before they actually in a VAR situation.
They have them up at the St George's Park training centre, which is like the England training centre, because I was up there when I was doing my UEFA A licence, and I would see the PGMOL guys on like their training and stuff as well. So they're there like doing things. But yeah, they have no exposure to it until they get to the Premier League. Because that's been one of the things I've found weird watching Championship games this season. We just like, oh, the decisions are just on the field and that's it.
Oh wait, Championship doesn't have VAR?
No,
I didn't know that.
That makes no
Nah,
sense. I guess it's
just the Premier
like
League.
fact that all grounds don't have all those 24 cameras. I guess that's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, and I think just a staffing and financing
Yeah.
thing as well, because the amount of extra officials you'd need. I mean, you've seen how bad the ones in the Premier League are. Imagine how bad VAR room officials would be in the Championship, and just the trickle down effect that would have to have, because it's such a big league as well, 24 teams. You know, to have 12 games where you need all that additional staffing, and the games are always so often at the same time in the Championship. Lots more midweek games. It's not quite as spread out as the Premier League. So yeah, it would be a staffing. I think it's a mixture of staffing and finances, and yeah.
So you mean you have to work your way up to get promoted to be fucked over by VAR? Is that
exactly?
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool to know.
Oh, I would give anything to still be getting fucked over by VAR in the Premier League, and for my team to be relevant.
You know, with the whole refereeing thing, another thing that's gonna come up in the next few years is a whole lot of them are gonna be poached by Saudi Arabia. So
we were saying these officials were already out there doing a game during the week. They were either in Saudi Arabia or Qatar or somewhere. Then they only arrived back on the day before. They arrived back the day before.
The same ones contracted by PGMOL?
Yeah. They've been out there working.
Crazy.
Yeah, it shouldn't be allowed. They're allowed to freelance as well.
That's
like
crazy.
That's it's just like on a tour bus, with Tosh, and it's like the driver can only drive a certain amount for the day. It's just like the Tracy Morgan, Walmart crash. That truck driver had been driving past the amount. Like it's the same thing for refs. Like it affects your decision making. Like coming from the Middle East back to they're just out there trying to get their money, man. They don't care about like the Premier League is what got you there. You know what they say about.
Seen anybody speak about it? Like this should be a major scandal. Like Premier League referees are freelancing in the Saudi league over the break.
It was the UAE. Just 2 days before, they were part of a refereeing team in the UAE. Darren England and Dan Cook, who were Darren England was the referee and Dan Cook was, I believe, one of the VAR officials.
Right. Yeah, the Cook guy. I think he actually made that call. Yeah.
But yeah, apparently they can get. It says here they can get an additional $3,000 per game for covering a match. In Saudi Arabia or the UAE,
so that they don't have to
Yeah.
They're like, there's so much money in football, but apparently the referees. Well, I guess then we're getting what we paid for, right? Well, we should be complaining then.
Hilarious.
So we're employing minimum wage workers to officiate the Premier League.
I mean,
they should tell the players
they should,
not that much. But it's a good amount by sort of your average working class person's standards, or even middle class person. But compared to the players, like nothing.
Yeah.
They should be. But they shouldn't be compared to the players. Nothing should be compared to the players.
They should tell the players that the players are all going to get paid slightly less. That money's going to go into a refereeing fund, and they're going to make them good.
I'd be so mad if you paid me less to make the same bad decisions, like affect me winning. Forget that. I'd be pissed. I definitely want my money back. Because I think, Neil, you just agreed with Simon Jordan. I didn't watch this clip, but last week he was saying referees should get paid more. And then now you just said the same thing. So I didn't know why he would have said that, but I'm not paying this group of referees more.
Yeah.
Hell no. I'll get a new bunch of referees that, that make great decisions, the right decisions. I'll pay them. Speaking of the Championship, I couldn't access the Aston Villa Brighton Hove game, the first game of the morning. So guess what I ended up watching? I was able to access Leeds versus Southampton. Was it Leeds?
Yeah.
Which was a championship game, but actually with two teams that just got demoted from the Premier League to the Championship. So basically, I was watching like a last year scheduled Premier League game because I couldn't access an actual Premier League game. So Lee, take it away. Your team won, baby. Yeah, we won.
Yep. It was my birthday. I was at the game.
You didn't tell us that.
Oh,
Did I know? Oh, well, it was my birthday on Saturday. And I had a ticket to the
Happy
game.
birthday.
birthday.
Me and my brother, we went to the game. I was expecting.
You pulled a Neil. Neil did the same shit. He didn't tell us either.
I was fully expecting my team to ruin my birthday. We were coming off of 4 straight losses. Leeds were in good form. I thought, we're going to have a tough day. We scored after like a couple of minutes. Went 1-0 up, then we went 2-0 up, then we went 3-0 up. After 30 minutes, we're 3-0 up. And I'm in a state of delirium at that point. I'm like, is this a fever dream? Like, is this actually happening? And the thing is, we weren't playing like amazing. Leeds are having some chances too, but we were clinical. Every time we got a chance, we were just putting it in, which was very, very, very unlike us. But Adam Armstrong scored 2 good finishes. Broke the defender's ankles on one of them, where he sent him one way, then another way, then back again. The through ball from Walker Peters for the first goal was great. 2 great assists from Kamaldeen Sulemana as well. He was on fire. We've missed him because he's sort of been coming back from injury at the start of the season. He only played 60 minutes in this game because that was all he could last. And then Ryan Fraser came on. But yeah, I mean, we conceded a goal in the second half, and I thought, are we going to crumble now? Because there was still a lot of time left on the board. We conceded, and there was still like half an hour to play. But we held firm. We stopped them really creating that many more chances, and we won the game 3-1, which was, pleasant surprise. We're playing Stoke away tomorrow night. It's the Tuesday night in Stoke. And then we play Rotherham at the weekend, who are one of the worst teams in the division. So it's a good opportunity for us to try and get some more points on the board. Knowing us, we'll probably just go and fuck it up now, and it'll be a false dawn. I'm just always pessimistic, but no, hopefully we can carry the good form on, because it was good. The fans were loud. The players showed some fight, so we needed that response after the recent games.
I feel like you outplayed them, even though you say that Leeds had some chances. You kind of like muted them, and you guys were just toying with them and having fun, especially Armstrong. Like the championship is his level. Like it's a different dude out there. He got like 7 goals already.
Yeah, joint top scorer in the league.
How many games?
I think 8 games, maybe 9 now. I think it's 9 games.
He's the Jude Bellingham of the championship. It's like it'll take him
9
2
games.
seasons to get that in the Premier League, and it's like 9 games in. Like, so yeah, I felt like y'all look impressive and the only team that was going to win that day. And even when Leeds got one back, Leeds just looked just disjointed. Like they're still depressed, even though you said they'd been doing good up until this point. They just look like, what? Why are we're in the championship? Like it just hit them this game that they're in the championship, and they just like, fuck this. But yeah, it was good. What's the standings like down there now?
Leicester are still top. They've only lost 1 game all season. They won at the weekend. Jamie Vardy scored again, celebrated in front of the opposition fans again. He loves it. Then Ipswich are 2 points behind them. And then Preston, Sunderland, Hull, Cardiff, Norwich, West Brom. Leeds are in 9th, and we're on the same points as them. We're in 10th. But it's 9 games in of a 46 game season. So
only 900 more games left to go, baby.
Exactly. So yeah, we got a lot of time to either pick up some more form or to fuck it up, whichever way we go. There's a lot of time for it to play out. So hopefully we can get some form together.
All right, boom. Man City lost this weekend. It's a shock that they lost. They lost to Wolves, and especially who they lost to. But they're not going to go through the season undefeated, and there's going to be like a loss somewhere. Like and most likely Man City style is like out of nowhere, but they win the games they're supposed to win. There's always going to be that beating. But the most shocking thing of the weekend, and maybe that's why it wasn't the weekend, why it happened. Chelsea won. Chelsea won today, and like Man United so bad, Chelsea won. That's how fucked up we playing. Chelsea won. Chelsea scored 2 goals.
Heels.
And you had a good run because midweek.
Yeah.
So talk me through midweek Caribou, like a battle royal, like that game. You versus Brighton Hove. That's who you played.
Yeah.
In the Caribou Cup, like what a fight! Like you could no matter where you guys are at the table, I still feel you're playing better than us. And there's more of a reason because you create chances, you put effort in. The ball might not go in the back of the net, but you create chances. There's coherency, there's energy, and to go mano a mano versus Brighton Hove and come back to back with the energy to do this, what you just did on Monday versus who did you just play?
Today, Fulham.
Fulham, like a London rival, like who's decent team. Tell us how you feel, and describe you pretended not to be as happy about it as you really are.
No, I'm very happy because we finally did the only thing that was missing was to actually finish our scoring chances, which I mean, admittedly not a lot because we just scored the 1 goal over the weekend. Although it should have been 2 goals, could have been 3 goals, except for the offside flag being up, and there was no VAR. What we were discussing before, there was no VAR in the cup. So it was a good game. Like our performances generally this season have been fine. The Twitter account XG Philosophy, they come out with their XG after the end of every game. They just tweeted today that after the Fulham game that Chelsea are the only Premier League team to have won every single game so far.
Oh shit!
Every single game, including the cup.
That's
games, obviously.
Crazy.
Yeah, and we were like 11th in the league.
It's funny. You bought Brighton Hove players to turn into Brighton Hove before they had those players.
Yeah. I mean, we've just got I feel like you can try project, you can like try getting young players. The few things you should not mess with so much rawness is when you're just in front of goal and you're right in front of defending your goal. So the goalkeeper and maybe 1 or 2 attackers. If you it's never really worked where you go so green in those aspects. So I think it's gonna be a process. But if you look at like even Sanchez, for example, I wasn't a big fan of him when we got him, but he's been turning up. Like he's doing whatever is expected of him. Roberto Sanchez, the keeper.
Right.
I think he has the most clean sheets in the Premier League right now. We've only conceded 6 goals in 7 games, which is good. Like less than a goal a game, I think right now where we are at is good, considering we didn't play without a DM first couple of games. Then creativity wise, you go further up the pitch. Creativity wise, we've been creating a whole lot of chances. That's why all the conversation is about us missing chances, because you've been creating so many of them, right? Like if you look at XG, look at big chances created, we're right up there in the top 3 or 4 in the Premier League. So it's just that we're probably 20th in every of those conversion metrics. And that's been the problem, which today, Mudryk, he took a good goal. All those Instagram videos I see of him.
Oh yeah, there was a flood of those this week. And then the irony.
That was
sorry, there's just so many videos this week. This is a video of all the celebrations that Mudryk had since he joined Chelsea in the Premier League, and then be like, "That's it," and they just go, that's it, and then there's no celebration, no goals, and then and I saw a bunch of shit like that, and then he scores.
Yeah, but like it's been a recurring theme over on online Chelsea online circles, where his gym routine, because he came to London with his trainer, I think his name is Dima, and he's very prolific on Instagram, so he keeps putting up stuff of Budrik. He's a beast in the gym, and which would have been fine in a normal situation, but the fact that the team is so shit and he hasn't scored a goal means that it gets turned into instant meme material, and that's what it has been for the longest time now. But finally today he took the ball, he chested the ball down perfectly. That's all the benching, and then first time slotted in through the keeper. So really happy for him. I hope he put up immediately, like all modern day footballers, put up an Instagram post that said can't struck off, and then turns into can. So yeah, I hope boy's feeling good.
Inspirational.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Broja got a really fortuitous. I think he deserved his luck, like, because he really applied himself. Considering he's coming back from an ACL injury, this is his first start. I don't think he was expected to start so soon. But we have Jackson, who is suspended, and Sterling probably could have played false nine, but he picked up a knock, so he wasn't ready to start today. So they kind of had to rush Broja through. Yeah, I think he did well. He could have done better in that first chance he blasted.
The one where he went around the keeper and he had the defenders on the line to beat. Yeah.
But
he went around. He went around everybody and then placed the ball around the net. Like, he's still going right.
Yeah, that was somebody like, that really felt like somebody who's coming back into football. Like, he had no clue what to do once he had the open goal in front of him. But he got his goal though, and hopefully that gives him some confidence. It's a very, very lucky goal.
Imagine working so hard to miss the first chance, and then you just get in the way and get the second chance.
So yeah, 2 goals, and then we went back to normal Chelsea by missing 2 good chances. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we had just had a normal average finishing in the previous games, we wouldn't have been talking about Chelsea in the manner that we are. Like, there's so much pressure and spotlight on a lot of these players who I don't think have done a lot wrong. But yeah, it's a steep road up, and we'll see.
I mean, you're also paying for your lack of. Chelsea fans are also paying for their lack of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Like if you'd have known the season was going to go like this, and Lukaku was free, would you guys call him up and let's see? So here goes your lack of forgiveness for a world-class striker.
Ian, I can live in an old, dilapidated, abandoned house. I can't live with a house with a snake in it. Like, that dude, he is.
Well, you're rooting for a dilapidated house.
Yeah.
So
but I think
hopefully,
some places you have to like kind of stick to the principle of things, and it also, like, it's forget us, like, he hasn't taken any efforts to make things all right with the club. So it's kind of mutual. Like, we can't like drag him to play for Chelsea. It's clear that he doesn't want to.
Right. You still own him?
Yeah, we don't pay for him his salary anymore. But
Roma's doing that.
He took a huge pay cut, so I do respect him. Like, it would have been very easy for him, the stage of career he is, to like keep getting the big bucks in Saudi, because he had a lot of offers from there. But he, respect to him, he took a huge pay cut just to keep playing in Europe.
That's something positive. Some form of respect for maybe the talks can start there with the respect. Uh, Lee, did you get a chance to see Brighton Hove versus? Well, now you were at the game at the same
And
time.
I watched it back though.
You watched it back, and how did this happen? How did Aston Villa? And I think a part of it is because they lost midweek to Everton at home. They had to respond. So that's what I told Lloyd, that you're lucky you lost midweek because you had to respond against one of the toughest teams, most well-coached teams, like at their home. Like, how did Villa do that shit?
I mean, there's a thing that if you read any interviews with Emery's players that he's coached in the past, they always talk about how thorough he is with the game plans and how it's just there's so much video analysis and clips that he shows the players. And I think with some teams and some
like Man
players,
United's new coach.
with some teams and some players that works, and with some teams and some players they can't handle the information. And apparently he doesn't change his approach for the sort of people he's working with. He'll overload them with information. If they take it on board, they take it on board. He'll get results. If they don't, they won't play, or the team will struggle if he's got no other options. But this looked like a game where he came, like, he had obviously done his homework, like, in detail. If you look at every time Brighton had the ball at the back, there was a really clear, like, pressing structure. Not many teams in this league will press with two forwards, because most teams play a single striker. So Villa had two people, and it sort of threw Brighton, I think, a little bit, because they couldn't. Normally, Brighton, what they'll do, they'll if there's one forward, they'll suck them to one side, and then they'll just play around the back using the goalkeeper until they can get out the other side. And against certain teams who are high possession, it's really easy to take one striker out the game with good ball rotations and movement, and they can normally do that against teams Brighton, but they struggled a little bit in this one. Like when Welbeck and Ferguson and people were like coming really deep trying to get on the ball because they were it wasn't getting up to them. Normally Brighton are just such a top team at manipulating a press to then play through it and exploit the space it leaves in behind. But Villa's players were all working really well as a unit. They always knew if the ball goes here, everyone moves around here, we try and stop the ball from progressing. They were winning it off them in good areas, pinching it off them in the middle. And yeah, when they had the ball, they were unstoppable. I mean, Watkins has got sky-high confidence right now. Him hitting a hat-trick was crazy. Ramsey's finish was an awesome goal. The way he just bent that one in the corner as well. And it's, just a really good performance from Villa. Just game plan executed pretty much to perfection. I think there'll be a lot of teams who are due to play Brighton in the coming weeks sitting down and looking at what Villa did. Just being like, is this something we can do? And that's the challenge for Zerbi as well, is that Zerbi doesn't change the way Brighton play, really. He's quite a fundamentalist. But the more obviously that he manages them, the more teams will watch them, the more they'll come up with game plans like this, which means the more inventive he needs to be in terms of their patterns when they're trying to play out the back. And there were times when the keeper was trying to go longer out to the fullbacks, and that was sort of working, but Villa was still coping with it. So it's they got to figure out some different options. Maybe Ferguson can be for them what Haaland is for City, kind of thing, where they have that option to go long and try and pin a team back before they then start playing. De Zerbi needs to maybe have a look at what they do in those situations where a team's causing them problems. But really interesting game tactically, that one, between two very, very good managers, and Emery came out on top in a big way.
I mean, how do you beat somebody 6-1 at their home with 38% possession? Not smash and grab 1-0. I've never seen a smash and grab 6-1. Isn't that bananas? It's like 38% possession. Yeah. They had the ball 62%. It's a smash and grab 6-1 that Villa pulled off. Pretty fucking bananas.
But that was just like I said, it's testament to how well Villa was set up out of possession. They wanted Brighton to have the ball. so that they could show them into certain areas and win it off them in certain areas, and then just pounce and get at goal. I think they were comfortable with Brighton having the ball, and like I say, just a really good game plan from Emery.
Before we go into games next week, we talked about Spurs, Villa. Just looking into Champions League, which games y'all looking forward to tomorrow and Wednesday?
Looking forward to Wilfried Zaha coming back home.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I mean, he made the right move, right? He left Crystal Palace. We're playing Crystal Palace 3 games in a row because there's something to do with Crystal Palace. Like, he's a major part of what Crystal Palace is.
He was
now.
Crystal Palace, yeah.
He was Crystal Palace. We played them midweek. We played them weekend, and now the last biggest thing synonymous with Crystal Palace is playing for Galatasaray, and they're coming to Old Trafford. And he's also an ex-United player. Like if Crystal Palace had sold him in the last few years, we were going to get a percentage of the money that they sold him for. He went to Galatasaray for free after his contract ran out, so we didn't get shit. So we can't have him come here to Old Trafford and get any revenge with Galatasaray. And he played his cards right. People say, why would you, if you're Wilfried Zaha, go to Galatasaray? Because you want to be in Champions League. You never played in Champions League as far as I can remember, and you go to Turkey, to one of the top teams in Turkey, that's more of a guarantee of playing it, and he's in it, and he's going to be at the Old Trafford tomorrow, 12 p.m. my time. And the way we're playing, this motherfucker might get a win at United. I'm not the happiest with that, but we definitely have left back problems. Like I said, I was so upset about our results that I didn't pay attention to Ten Hag's press conference today, the post-game press conference after the weekend. So who knows, man? I'm watching the game, but man, my heart needs a win. My heart can't take, and especially like I had some hope. You hear like club news throughout the week.
Yeah.
The biggest piece of club news for me before this weekend was Rashford and Højlund are staying extra after practice to get to know each other on the pitch. So I had that. You sometimes you get that one bit of team news that's like, we're gonna make you know you're gonna win. And I didn't see any of that relationship develop. It deteriorated more in this game than it showed. So yeah. I feel like we should be able to beat Galatasaray, but the way we're playing, they already have Ten Hag on the plank. So let's see if he makes it all the way, hopefully not to the end of it. But what's the biggest?
You know what Ten Hag needs? He needs a few boring weeks. He needs a few weeks where like nothing, like he keeps getting the 3 points, but like there's some dull games, and he just keeps picking up these 1 goal, 2 goal wins, and nothing happens off the pitch. He just needs to slip out of the spotlight for Liverpool.
Well, these are those games. But he lost one of them. These are those games. Like, here's the other thing that's unforgiving about the loss. Like, every team we've lost this week, they're ahead in their progress than us. They're more ahead. So you lose to Bayern. You don't want to understand it. You lose to Arsenal. They're more ahead in their process and their progress and like building their team than ours. Fine. We lost to Brighton Hove. They're further ahead in their development than us, even though they lost 2 players. And trying to think of who else did we lose to. I think we lost to somebody else, or maybe it was this week in the Crystal Palace. But that Crystal Palace shit, like, there's no way in hell you're supposed to lose to Crystal Palace. That's just not supposed to happen. No disrespect to Crystal Palace. How y'all feeling about this, going back to the group of death, which is on Wednesday? PSG versus Newcastle at Newcastle. This is huge for Newcastle.
This is why they bought the club for. This is
Saudi versus Saudi. So
footballing
this is
Saudi
this is
versus
how the
Qatar.
yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a good game, and you see Newcastle have had a few good games, but they're kind of getting into the territory where they want that big jump from last season. But last season was such a huge jump that the next jump, I don't know if they're ready for that yet. So yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing these games because you got to now suddenly face up to Mbappe, Dembele.
I heard Dembele is having issues at PSG. I don't know if they, so like he's kind of like on the sales block already at PSG. So there's something. PSG is 5th in League One. 5th. But despite that, some good teams, they start off the season slow. But Newcastle, when would Newcastle ever imagine, like, yeah, we got a game against Mbappe and them? You know what I mean? Like 2 years ago, you'd never hear like a Newcastle person get excited for wins. Say, yeah, we're in the Champions League. Not only are we in the Champions League, we got to play World Cup winner Mbappe. We got to defend them. So that's some super exciting shit for them. You think they could pull it off, Lee?
I mean, if everything goes right, they're capable. Because they've got some quality players in that team. It just depends. Similar to the Villa demolishing Brighton, like the game plan was spot on. The game plan from Newcastle needs to be spot on because PSG have got the individual quality that even if their game plan isn't quite where it needs to be, they can win the game because Mbappe can just pull some mad shit out and do something. And they've got players who can just win games of individual quality. Whereas Newcastle, I feel like they've got players that can win Premier League games of individual quality, but they'll need a little bit more in this game. But Eddie Howe's a smart guy. He'll have a plan for them. It'd be interesting to see how he implements that plan. But, they've got players like, I don't know who's going to play, who's going to be fit out of like Isak and Wilson, but they can hurt teams. It'll be a big learning curve, I feel, for someone like Gordon because he hasn't been in this environment before, but he's played in some high pressure games. Like he was part of the England under-21s team that won the Euros. So, he'll be in there. Someone like Joe Linton could step up. Guimaraes is in there. Tonali, I think, is a player who they'll lean heavily on because if he's playing, because he's had that experience with AC Milan. So yeah, it's more the backline for Newcastle that worries me in this game because I mean, if Trippier is playing,
who's the right back for Newcastle?
Trippier.
Trippier.
And Trippier's experience, but I mean,
yeah.
I mean, there's not many defenders other than maybe Kyle Walker. There's not many defenders I would fancy in a foot race with Mbappe. And if it's Trippier, he's going to get burned. And what teams will try and do is they'll try and have the centre back on that side come over and double up. But what that does, it just means it leaves space for other players to maybe pop up in those gaps if they try and double up. So, yeah, or Vitina coming through the midfield, or Kolo Muani, or Dembele if he's playing on the other side can ghost into the middle as well. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Newcastle cope with that threat, because I think that's where they're weakest and where PSG are strongest is the attack there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. There's Napoli versus Real Madrid, which would be huge if Napoli still had their coach from last season, and if Napoli hadn't on their website clowned their best player from the season before who helped them win the Scudetto, and if their owner wasn't such a cantankerous person. And I don't know what happened in Serie A this weekend? How did Napoli do? Did Osimhen play? Like, where are they at with this beef? Napoli's third.
All a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Napoli's like, oh, you think Man United can have a messed up season? Oh, you think Chelsea can be all over the? No. We got something for you. We'll just self-inflicted wound over here. So Napoli beat. I guess they're over it. Napoli beat Leeds 4-0 this weekend.
Yeah, I think.
No, they're a poor team.
Yeah.
Right. But I've seen Manchester United lose to poor teams, and they didn't. And also, Osimhen scored one. Yeah. So all right, maybe winning sometimes heals. So
those are the boring wins that Ten Hag needs.
Yeah, but speaking of Real Madrid, you saw another goal and another assist by Jude Bellingham this weekend for Real Madrid, and they just versus Girona. I watched it last night, but he's like English Cantona over there. You know what I mean? He scores, he goes to the crowd.
Yeah.
He's like, that's exuding like top confidence amongst top players.
Like, are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained, bro? Like, just like you remember any English guy, no matter how good they were, to be like that ain't even like an English trait.
No.
Look, it's almost like the ultimate evolution of like English football to have a player who's like, fuck it, I believe in me on this level in Spain, with Champions League players.
Yeah.
So, I just hope this rubs off like on England. You feel me? Because it is ultimately what's missing from like us internationally.
You know what's gonna happen? He's gonna come back on the international break.
Don't say
Garrett's gonna be like, you gotta cut that out. You gotta cut that out. That's just too flashy for me. Put your head down, son.
You have to be humble. Like, humbleness hurts people sometimes.
Yeah.
Everybody is made to be Gareth Southgate. But yeah, it's like, hey man, great setup this weekend for Josulu, and then just great goal by him as Josulu returned the favor.
Yeah, the Bellingham assist for that goal was nice as well, outside of the foot. Just bent it into that space in between the defenders and the keeper, and then Joselu was there.
Very Modric-esque too. That assist. Yeah, very Modric-esque.
Yeah, he's been watching him on the training field.
Yeah, he's stealing shit. The type of stealing you want.
Yeah.
Trying to see what's the so the big matchup this weekend in the Premier League coming up is
Arsenal City.
What y'all think, man?
Yeah, I think it's that's got to be the top of the table clash, right? Arsenal City.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then there's Brighton Liverpool too, which should be fun, but I think it's Arsenal City.
Don't forget Luton Burnley tomorrow.
Luton Burnley, yeah.
Yeah, they're playing tomorrow because they to do that makeup game when Luton Stadium wasn't ready. So then they're doing that now. So Luton, they won this weekend. They beat Everton, which was shocking because Everton beat goddamn Villa at Villa Park. And you're like, Everton's going to go on this run. Calvin Lewin is back. He's scoring. And Luton get their first win, 2-1 on the road at Everton. So, but they played Saturday, and now it's tomorrow, Tuesday. Can they recover? Burnley needs a win.
Yeah, this was the game that got delayed because Luton Stadium was still being brought up to minimum Premier League standard at the start of the season. So Luton missed a game week early on, so this is just a make-up fixture to get them back onto level games. But yeah, I mean, I watched a bit of the Everton Luton game back, and Everton created chances. Everton were just wasteful. They had a lot of chances. They could have put Luton like 2 or 3-0 down before Luton even scored their first goal. So yeah, Everton were wasteful, but Luton, they hung in there, and then when their chances came, they took them. Like, you look when their captain Lockyer scored that goal, like he tackled the ball into the goal.
Yeah, he
just wanted
pressed it in. Yeah, he wanted it. Yeah.
And that was the desire from them to go out and get that win. They, for moments like that, they have players that were willing to just put their bodies on the line and go for it. So I was pleased that he scored that goal. And Morris for them looks a handful when he gets opportunities. So yeah, it's nice. I think it's healthy for the league that they got their first win, because the promoted teams have all been struggling. And it just goes to show that Everton, even though they turned it around recently with a couple of good results, they still got that ability to self-destruct and lose games, which I think might be a problem for them this season. But yeah, props to Luton. It's a good win.
Good win. And then
guys, I got to take off.
I was just about actually about Chelsea versus Burnley, but all right, I get it.
Oh, cool. I am just a minute. Chelsea, Burnley. I mean, we should be getting the points if we can. It should be, I just hope like Cole Palmer had a good game, and Poch doesn't do the stupid thing of like benching him, because he does that sometimes, like somebody's, because he's so worried about these young guys exposing them too soon. But Cole Palmer, he looks like the real deal. So yeah, I hope like they keep him, and then let the front part of the pitch do their thing. We sorted everywhere else. Let those guys do their thing.
All right, and we know who you had to lose in order for Cole Palmer to come in. So for you to be like happy with him, that's a lot from you.
Yeah. No, he kind of looks like Kai Havertz, but you know what we thought Havertz would be? He kind of gives me, because he's the same kind of frame, tall, lanky, looks pretty languid when he's like running with the ball, but he actually does a lot more output at the end of it.
Yeah, and he's fearless. So I think this was a good prisoner exchange with you for Man City. To get Cole Palmer for, what was the name of the guy that you sold to Newcastle?
Kovacic.
Say again?
Oh, no. Wait, are you talking about like Kovacic?
Hall. No, Lewis Hall.
Lewis Hall.
The players
Lewis to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's almost like, because I read this thing or watched this thing where it's almost like a prisoner exchange. Lewis Hall was on your books as an academy player. So you sell him and buy a player, and it boosts the whatever of your value of your team for like a like for like. Yeah, that's good.
I guess.
Well, thanks for joining, man.
I'll see you guys.
Take it easy, Neil.
All right, peace. So what do you think seriously about Arsenal versus Man City?
I mean, I think I said it when Arsenal played them last season, but it's a test of where this Arsenal team are at. They're going to get an angry Man City as well after they lost to Wolves. So yeah, that's the City. There's no room for error. City are going to be bringing their A game. They've got so many players that are capable of big moments in big matches. So we'll see what this Arsenal team are made of. It's where's the game being played? Let me just double check.
I was just checking this week's game
at Arsenal at the Emirates. For some reason, at the Emirates, I think Arsenal could do it. There's question marks over Saka's fitness. That like Arsenal are running Saka into the ground. That boy needs a rest,
right?
Because he's such a big player for England as well. So he plays a lot of minutes for England, and then Arsenal play him in every competition. He needs a rest, but obviously he ain't going to rest this game. But if he's on form, he could be a match winner for him. Jesus is back, firing. He's playing again. So yeah, I feel like if Arsenal hook it up, they got the players who can go out and win this game. I always like them at the Emirates as well, but I mean, just thinking about it, City 2 losses in a row is rare for them.
But
It's
it could
rare.
happen.
It could. Again, this is going to be a really fascinating one to watch because Arsenal need to show what they're made of. City need to bounce back. It'd be a good indication of where this Arsenal team are at now with the additions they've made since last season, even though they're not fully, trying to have a look here about Rice's fitness as well, because obviously he's been.
Well, he played this weekend. I just checked.
Yeah.
So then, because I was like, because they both having problems in the same part of the park, because De Bruyne's out, and I think he's still out, and then Rodri got the card last week, so he didn't play this week, and I think it was a straight red, so he's gone, so he should be gone. So then, and then without Rodri, they lost this weekend to Wolves. So is this going to be a main issue for them? Is like no De Bruyne, no Rodri, no Gundogan. Who else is missing from there? Can Kovacic and what's his name? Is it Nunez, the new guy? And could
Mateus Nunes.
Mateus Nunes, could it be Calvin Phillips? Like, is
I tell you, Calvin Phillips ain't the answer. Every game he plays, he just looks so out of depth at that football club. There's a good player in there, like we've seen it with England at times, but City just seems like a bad fit for him. Like he came in and played for them during the week, the Carabao Cup game against Newcastle. They lost. He got some minutes in this game as well against Wolves. They lost. I mean, we're talking about, City don't really lose 2 games in a row. They haven't, if you take the Carabao Cup into consideration. So, I mean, yeah, it's a big part of the pitch for them. And I'm interested to see how they line up for this game.
Did Rodri play in that Carabao Cup that they lost to Newcastle? I wonder. Let me go back to that. Like,
I don't think so. I'm trying to look now as well.
Let's see. So is this like, is this like their Achilles, like that spot? Just looking for like, because that's the only thing. Like,
no, it was Phillips and they had Phillips and Kovacic,
and they lost. And then this weekend they still didn't have Rodri again, and they lost. And then now this weekend coming up against Arsenal at the Emirates, they don't, because that could be like when he's good, which he has been, like there's nothing like him. He lets you know how the position should be played. And if they ain't got nobody to like put in there, there's no Gundogan because they sold him, and there's no De Bruyne because he's injured. Like that's the only area of the pitch, even though they have Haaland up front and Julio Alvarez is like going off. That was a great free kick this weekend. He's linking up and he's playing good. Like that position is like, you saw Chelsea with no CDM before they bought 3 of them. You've seen United with no CDM for seasons. Yeah. And how much we language. And then now,
they had Kovacic and Nunes in there at the weekend, and it wouldn't surprise me if they went with that again. I don't know, but I mean, they've got a hard game at the moment against Leipzig in the Champions League to contend with. Like Leipzig are a team who will press and who will run against you, and that game, even if City win it, that game will be like physically tasking, I think, for them, unless they keep the ball to a high level. But without De Bruyne, without Rodri, like I don't know, I feel like
play in that game, right? I'm asking.
He should be fine in that game, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, maybe having him back in that one will help them. But yeah, it's a tough week for City coming off the back of back-to-back losses in all competitions. So yeah, we'll see what they're made of.
Yeah, we'll see what they're made of. And Arsenal, they feel like they got all their squad. The only thing missing is like Timber, but they never even knew what he was because he got injured pretty much as soon as they bought him. But you know,
I feel like with like Ben White and people, they got enough to cope. Zinchenko and that. So
yeah, I mean, they ain't got no Partey. They sold Xhaka or they let him go. So if they had that extra, because that you know, Neil's concerns about Jorginho are starting to rub off on me. Is it Jorginho?
Yeah, Jorginho, yeah.
Because when Arsenal, one of the parts of the season when Arsenal started to fall apart is like when they had to kind of use him, and I was like, you know, all Neil's lack of positivity towards him makes me like, they got to use this guy, you know, because there's no Partey, and if Arsenal can't use Rice, he's no Rice. He's good, but he ain't no Rice. So we'll see.
Yeah. He's a completely different type of player as well. Like Jorginho, and he goes in, he plays deep, but he's there to keep the ball moving. He's not there as a physical shield for the defense and to win the ball and to break up play. Whereas Rice offers that and Jorginho doesn't. So it's it's a different style of player in there. And I think when Rice isn't there, Arsenal don't really have another type of player that's going to do that. So it's a little bit worrying for them if he's overloaded.
Yeah, I mean, it's injuries, it's football. Arsenal's front line ain't convincing me. Like Gabriel Jesus is a pain in the ass, and I like the energy that he brings. Because Welbeck does the same thing for Brighton Hove, but to win a title, you need like not just the guy that's gonna be a pain in the ass, but you need like guaranteed 20-something goals. And I don't think Gabriel Jesus has ever exhibited that, even in his best seasons with City. So we'll see. City still got the scoring. So that's a tough one. I'll give it to Arsenal, though. I'd say Arsenal could pull it off for a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do Fantasy League?
Oof. Yeah, let me
and
have
West
a
Ham
look.
versus Newcastle is a tough one because West Ham won again this weekend. So that's a really good. Yeah, that's a really good one.
So Fantasy League, Aaron Firkin is top right now with ingrown Tonali. Nice little play on words from Aaron Firkin there. He is top of the league right now. Joachim da Silva, which is Ryan Holmes' team. He's got a name for his team, and his name is Ryan Holmes. It's kind of weird. And Thomas Moran is in third with his team named Ronnie Pickering, which is that's an old school British meme video thing that happened. Love that name. Then Neil's in ninth. Neil's the highest out of all of us right now. Neil's in ninth.
The same Neil that was just on the podcast.
One and the same. It's surprising.
Neil who was last for most of last season.
Yeah, he's there. He did pretty well this weekend. But I got more points in. I closed on him a little bit. I'm above Martin, which is the main thing for me. But Martin's going to close the gap a little bit though, because at the moment I'm on 396. And Martin's on 372. So at the moment, I'm 24 points ahead of Martin. But he's going to get a 15-point boost because Anderson, who scored for Palace against United, sorry to remind you, he's on Martin's bench. But Botman didn't play for Newcastle. So Anderson's going to come in off Martin's bench and add 15 points to his team, which is lucky because he didn't play. He didn't select him. And then he's got Morris to play for Burnley, to play for Luton against Burnley tomorrow as well. So Martin will close the gap on me. That 24-point gap will get closed, I think, to about 4 points probably by the end of it, or 4 or 5, depending on how well Morris does. So I'll still be above Martin unless Morris scores a hat trick or something. So I'm a Burnley fan tomorrow now. I just realised. Hopefully he gets 0 points. So yeah, that's the state of things right now in the fantasy league.
Well, it's good to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Going into each game, like what's taking them so long to give Martin that 15 points from like 2 days ago?
Because any players who don't play, they don't get replaced until the game week is completely over, and the game week isn't completely over until Burnley Luton is completed, and then they'll make any changes once the game week is done and dusted. So yeah, he's got 15 points due off his bench as and when the game finishes.
All right, Martin. Bad luck to you. That's all
I've been looking at it. I mean, I've been factoring it all in to make sure he can't get ahead of me.
I see that. You sound like you've been going to see a Paul Pogba witch doctor to make sure Martin can't get ahead of you. Well, I guess that's it. We covered it, man. We did it. You know, and you're going to so you leaving tomorrow night?
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
I got a show in Birmingham tomorrow night, and then drive home, sleep for maybe 4 hours, 5 hours, and then get up and travel into London to get the train. So yeah, if anyone wants to follow my travels, Lee Hudson Comedy on Instagram. I'll be posting like stories from all the games I go to, all the shows that I'm doing. But yeah, if you want to follow me, trying to do 2 Dutch Eredivisie games in one day, driving around the Netherlands in my little rental car, then follow me, watch the stories, all that'll be there, and then the Ajax game on the Sunday. If you want to see what the Dutch match day experience is like at 3 different stadiums.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. That's pretty bananas. Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to check that out. That's fucking fly as hell. And follow me on Ian at Ian. Follow me at Ian Edwards Comic on Instagram, on Twitter, on Threads. And thank you all for listening. I ran into somebody in Canada. I forgot his name, like Se or C. Like he came to my one-man show, which is just my 1 hour stand-up, not a one-man show that I had at the Garrison. And I met him afterwards, and he said he's listened to, he's a Man United fan, listen to the podcast. So thanks for coming out to the show. And yeah, man, like everybody take care of each other, love each other, be good to each other. And good luck to your teams unless they playing against ours. One.